Wisconsin Broadcasters Association Hall of Famer Bob Berry ruled Milwaukee's airwaves in the 60s and 70s. He spoke with countless musicians and celebrities over the years. Bob collected remarkable recordings of these encounters, which he's now sharing with the public. Here's Bob.
Larry King was a trailblazer in the field of radio and TV broadcasting, paving the way for future talk show hosts and journalists. Over the course of his career on the Larry King Live, he conducted over 50,000 interviews with a wide range of personalities, from world leaders and celebrities to everyday individuals with extraordinary stories, making him one of the most recognized and respected interviewers in the industry. His show aired for 25 years, became one of CNN's most successful programs. Larry had conversations with every U.S. president, from Richard Nixon to Barack Obama, as well as international leaders like Vladmir Putin and Nelson Mandela. Segments of his interviews still pop up on various programs and in the movies.
Larry King is on the air with us this morning. He has the most talked about program on network radio, and we're really happy to have him here. He's on the air from 11 o'clock at night till 4:30 in the morning, and he'll be broadcasting tonight from the Republican convention, right, Larry?
Correct, Bob. We're really right across the street. We're going to be at there's a rooftop scene there at the Hyatt restaurant, which is right opposite the convention center, and when you're on that late, it's much easier to get good guests by being at the point they're going to, rather than staying right in the convention hall. So, we're there. We do a lot of traveling. You know, we were at the Democratic Convention and probably go to the World Series. And I'm sorry, Bud Selig won't be in it.
I mentioned the most talked about program on network radio. What makes your show work? What makes it so successful, Larry?
Well, you know, as anybody in this business, it's hard to be introspective. I think it's a combination of things. I think the timing when we started in early 1978, when AM radio was turning much more to talk and information, when having a show come out of Washington, the pace we keep to it, the fact that we get very good guests, and I think there's a kind of fascination in listening to people call from Milwaukee and Peoria and Boston and Miami, and these calls throughout the night. It's just a combination. We keep a pace to it that I think deals with both entertaining and informing. I think that's important in programs of this type, that you not only inform, I mean, you could inform by reading the dictionary, but you entertain at the same time. And we have quality people associated with. I think it all adds. I think it's the components of a part, spokes of a wheel, timing, city it comes from, good guests, fast pace, sense of humor. I think it all combines.
Are you an emotional person? I mean, do you get frustrated sometimes and get upset?
Yeah, I've been doing this a long time. I love interviewing people. That's my favorite thing to do, because I was schooled in it. I got into it very early. I was interviewing when I was 23 years old. The first 6-7 years on the air, I never took phone calls. I just did interviews. I like that. I like drawing people out. I think it's a natural knack. I don't think you can teach it. I enjoy the phone call. Sometimes it's frustrating, but we get very good callers in the main. Those 5% that are going to be what might be termed wacko callers can sometimes bug you, but I keep the show at a certain pace to try to avoid that. The tough part is it's a long stretch. In 5.5 hours, we're going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records this year.
Is that right?
Yeah, for total amount of hours. I never realized it. For total amount of hours on network radio.
Gee.
But that can be tough, because it's really two shows in one. The guest is on from 11 until 2, and then from 2 to 4:30 you have Open Phone America, and even 4 to 4:30 is different, because we do it sort of like a beginning of the day kind of show. So it's really 3 shows in one. The hours are tough. It's kind of rough when you're dealing with something that's successful, and the hours can get to you. But I never enjoyed doing anything more in my life than this program, winning a Peabody and having all the things that have happened to this show.
Yeah, right. By the way, I enjoy your column in USA Today, too.
Thank you. I get a real kick out of writing it. They had me write every day at the Olympics, although I wound up having just a small box. I don't know why they sent me there. But I enjoy that every Monday, and then writing for the sporting news is a kick, because I've been a sports fan all my life.
Yeah, I can tell.
The show is the thing.
Yeah. Who decides which guest you're going to have on the program?
Well, we have an executive producer, a producer, associate producer, and they meet every day. and they go over who's coming into Washington, what might be news. You have to be willing to move things at a moment's notice when you also are newsworthy. And then they gather it. We usually plan the guests 2 to 2.5 weeks in advance so that we can let all the stations know who's coming, so there can be listings in newspapers. And then, of course, that's open to change if somebody interesting comes in or if a news story breaks. My input is I come in once a week to a meeting and I offer some thoughts. I don't choose the guests, but I'll say, gee, I'd like to do this person or that person. They know I like a variety of things. Another key to the show, I think, Bob, is the variety. We have a wide scope. We're not locked in. We're not a political show. We're not an entertainment show. We're not a sports show. We're a show of all those things and more. And the producers keep that in concept all the time. That's very important. We would not do 3 straight political nights, for example. They like a balance. But they choose them. I don't.
Of all the times I've listened to you, I've never heard you been taken aback by anyone. I mean, you just don't seem shocked by it. Has any guest ever shocked you at all?
No, that's a long time. I think when you do this a long time, Bob, nothing's going to surprise you. Answers may surprise me. An answer to a question, in fact, most answers should surprise me. But nothing else is going to surprise me. Temper tantrums, drunken guests, fires in studios, equipment not work. Anything that happens all happened to me. And when you're a product of experience, that helps a lot. So, no, I haven't had that happen. You know, when I was first starting, I had Joey Giardello, a former fighter. I think I've been on the air 3 months. Said he had been in prison. So I said to him before the interview, I said, I don't think I was on the job 3 months. I'm going to ask you about the prison thing. So he says, don't worry, I got a pat answer. And so I asked him about the prison thing, and his pat answer was to scream and say he was framed, grab the microphone, and start yelling. I never expected that kind of response. Joe Cunningham was a ball player who played with Rochester, was known as a flake. And he was in Miami with the Rochester team in the International League. And I sort of welcomed him to town, and he said, thank you, Larry, it's always great to be here in Buffalo. And he was not kidding. He thought he was in Buffalo. That totally threw me. But now, no, I don't get thrown. In fact, I've done so many remotes, and I broadcast in a restaurant in Miami when I started, so I'm used to broadcasting in front of people, and I'm used to all kinds of situations: hotel rooms, convention centers, studios. I'm comfortable in it. You know, it's like part of my being. It's like, no, it's not going to surprise me.
How about personal problems? Do they ever get in the way of your job?
No, they never have. I've had a lot of ups and downs. I've had a lot of financial problems in Miami. I've lost a job once that was very important to me. But I never brought it to the air. I think that's part of professionalism. I don't think... Now, the audience gets to know you pretty well, so there are some nights, sure, when I'll say, whew, you know, like, I'm tired tonight, or this has really been a bad day. And that times I'll do it, but that's even professional, too. I'm letting the audience in on a secret, but I'm never throwing away the show. I think a host has a responsibility, and the responsibility is to entertain and inform his audience. And if he doesn't do that, he's not doing his job or her job. That's paramount. And, you know, don't be in this business if you're going to let that bother you.
Yeah.
I don't think you can.
Looking forward to hearing you do your broadcast from the site of the Republican Convention this week, Larry, and I thank you very much for talking with us.
Thank you, Bob. We're going to do our best to make the Republican Convention interesting. Not suspenseful, but interesting.
Bob Berry.
Thank you for listening to Bob Berry's Unearthed Interviews. Be sure to subscribe and rate our podcast on iTunes or wherever you find your podcasts. You can find all the episodes at WisconsinBroadcastingMuseum.org. Check out Bob Berry's book, Rock and Roll Radio Milwaukee. Book sale proceeds support Angels Kids Fund and Donate Life Wisconsin. The preceding program was made possible by a generous contribution from Terry Vaughn.